Welcome to the deep dive. If you're keeping an eye on Southeast Asia, you've probably noticed it too, this massive policy shift happening. There's a global race on.
Oh, definitely.
But it's not for the usual short-term tourists anymore, is it?
No, not at all. The focus now is long-term, high-value residents.
Exactly. We're talking digital nomads, remote workers, skilled expats, especially, it seems, those looking from the Gulf region.
Right.
And today, we're zoning in on one specific place, the Philippines. A major archipelago that's making a really aggressive government-backed pivot. They're redefining who they want to welcome and maybe more importantly, why.
It's a fascinating move.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We've got sources here detailing this brand new strategy from the Philippines. They're aiming to attract what their own tourism folks are calling quality travelers. So our mission today really is twofold. First, let's pull out the key details, the actionable stuff about their plan for a digital nomad visa and what they see as their competitive edge. And second, maybe more critically for you listening, what does this signal if you're a long-term traveler, maybe thinking about Asia Pacific? What does this mean for your plans?
And this isn't just, a fancy marketing slogan.
Yeah.
It goes deeper.
How so?
Well, what's really interesting is this feels like a foundational government strategy. It's about building economic resilience.
Right.
And importantly, weaving sustainable tourism into how they grow. They're trying to diversify where tourists come from, moving away from just pure volume.
Aiming for higher value per visitor,
Right.
essentially.
Higher, more consistent economic contribution. It feels like, a maturing of their policy, something we've kind of been watching for in the region.
Okay, so let's zoom in. Who exactly are they trying to attract with this quality traveler label? The sources are pretty specific.
They are. Two main groups jump out.
Yeah.
Long-term travelers, definitely. But specifically, the digital nomad crowd
Right.
and expatriates coming from the Gulf region.
Okay, why those two? That seems very targeted.
Well, if you connect the dots, it's strategic, financially speaking. Digital nomads, they bring in foreign income, right? They stay longer.
Months, maybe a year?
Could be 6 months, a year, sometimes more. And they spend money differently. Rentals, local cafes, co-working spaces, stuff outside the usual tourist bubble.
Okay, makes sense. And the Gulf expats.
That's perhaps even more targeted. Often high-income earners, skilled professionals, maybe families.
Looking for a second base or a regional hub.
Yeah, or even just a place for longer holidays while keeping jobs elsewhere in the region. Their daily spend and potential for long-term investment is just significantly higher than your average 2-week vacationer.
So it's really about sustained, high-value economic input, choosing stability over just quick tourist cash.
Pretty much.
But that term, quality traveler, it keeps coming up in the official statements. Doesn't every country want quality visitors? How are they defining it beyond just cash?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
And Tourism Secretary Cristina Garcia Frasco, she's been quite clear it's multifaceted. It's not just about the dollars spent per day. It's about the type of spending.
Ah, okay.
And maybe the length of commitment, the integration. Are they using local professional services?
Yeah.
Renting long-term? Maybe even hiring locally.
So people who become part of the local economy, not just passing through.
Exactly. They're looking for economic contributors, not just temporary consumers. That seems to be the core of quality here.
All right, let's shift to how they plan to attract these people. The big news is this digital nomad visa. Sources confirm it's moved beyond just ideas. It's actually in the planning stages, right?
Yes, this looks like the cornerstone of the whole strategy. They're actively developing it.
So what do we know about it? Any concrete details emerging, or at least confirmed directions?
Well, the final law isn't passed yet, but the framework seems to be drawing on what's worked elsewhere in the region.
Okay.
What we're gathering from the working groups is it'll likely offer a longer stay than typical tourist visas, maybe 1 to 2 years initially.
Renewable.
Renewable, that seems to be the plan. And to ensure they get that quality profile we talked about.
Right, the income part.
Exactly. There will likely be an income threshold. They're looking at benchmarks from other Asian programs, maybe needing proof of income around, say, $2,500 to $3,500 US dollars a month.
Per month. From foreign sources, presumably.
Yes, that's key. Foreign sources.
That sounds pretty competitive, actually, especially when you think about residency hurdles in, North America or Europe.
It does. And the sources also make a point about collaboration.
Ah, the interagency bit.
Yeah. The Department of Tourism isn't doing this in a vacuum. They're working with immigration, trade, and industry, even the IT department.
Okay, DICT, the Department of Information and Communications Technology.
Right. All trying to streamline the process for these arrivals.
Now, hold on. Interagency cooperation sounds great on paper, right? But let's be real. Bureaucracy in Manila or anywhere in the Philippines sometimes can be challenging.
It can be notoriously complex.
So how realistic is this streamlining? Can they actually pull it off quickly? Because if you're a professional used to efficiency, a frustrating process is a major turnoff.
That is absolutely the million-dollar question here. It's the potential Achilles heel.
Yeah.
But the government seems aware of this. That push for involving multiple agencies from the start, it's likely an attempt to tackle that very problem head-on.
Trying to iron out the kinks beforehand?
Hopefully. The sources suggest the plan is for the initial visa process, application, issuance, everything to be really centralized.
Through one specific channel.
Possibly. Maybe a single online portal, perhaps overseen by the tourism department itself, since they have the most riding on its success.
Okay.
Success won't just be how many visas they issue, but can they genuinely cut down that processing time compared to, say, applying for a regular business or retirement visa now? That's the real test.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from the visa process itself, let's talk market strategy. Historically, the Philippines has relied pretty heavily on just a few countries for tourists.
Yeah, Northeast Asia mostly. China, South Korea, big volume, but maybe shorter stays.
Exactly. This new strategy is a fundamental shift away from that reliance. It's about broadening the appeal globally.
Which makes sense for resilience, doesn't it?
Absolutely vital. If one key market suddenly drops off, maybe economic downturn or some external event, the whole tourism sector doesn't just collapse. Diversification buffers that risk.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, especially if you're watching the whole Asia-Pacific region. The Philippines isn't exactly entering an empty playing field here.
Not even close.
Yeah.
It's incredibly competitive.
This move puts them right alongside a whole bunch of other Asian countries, all chasing the same pool of travelers.
You've got Malaysia with its DE Rantau visa.
Thailand, which has been a digital nomad hub for ages and keeps tweaking its long-term resident visa.
Indonesia, especially Bali,
Yeah.
targeting this group. Even Japan and South Korea are getting in the game now.
So they're not just creating a new offering, they're directly challenging established players. Players with deep pockets and years of experience catering to nomads.
Yeah, so that diversification strategy, it's not just about spreading risk, it's about sheer market viability. Can they actually carve out a niche?
The big question then becomes, what's their unique selling point? What makes someone choose Manila or Cebu over Bangkok or KL, assuming the visa details are comparable?
They need something compelling to stand out.
All right, so what is their competitive edge? What do the sources say makes the Philippines stand out? Secretary Frasco points to one thing immediately.
Which is?
English. The widespread use of English.
Ah, yes. That's a big one.
She argues it lowers the barrier to entry significantly. Daily life, dealing with paperwork, even setting up business stuff. It's just easier for many foreigners compared to destinations where English isn't as common.
That's undeniable. The language advantage, especially for integration, is huge. But is it enough on its own? Probably not for the hardcore digital nomad. What else?
Geography comes up too. The sheer variety within the archipelago.
Right, over 7,000 islands.
You can easily hop between a bustling city like Makati or BGC for work.
And then be on a world-class beach in Palawan or surfing in Siargao for the weekend.
That mix caters really well to that work hard, play hard lifestyle many long-term travelers want.
Okay, language and geography are strong points. But here's where we need to be a bit critical maybe.
Go on.
Digital nomads, after they look at cost, they prioritize a few key things. Stable infrastructure, reliable, fast internet, and a sense of safety.
And the Philippines.
Well, the cost of living is definitely low, very attractive, but the perception and sometimes the reality of internet speed and stability, especially once you get outside the main business districts in Manila or Cebu, it's historically lagged behind places like Vietnam or Thailand. That's a known challenge.
That's a really crucial point. If they're serious about attracting quality travelers, particularly tech-reliant nomads, they have to tackle the digital infrastructure quality. Is there any sign of that happening in parallel? Is investment linked to this visa push?
Implicitly, yes. The fact that the DICT, the Information and Communications Technology Department, is involved is the signal.
Okay, so they recognize it.
It suggests they know internet quality is a competitive factor. But the current strategy seems to lean more on the existing strengths, the English, the cost, the culture, while using this whole visa initiative as leverage. leverage to push for infrastructure upgrades, especially in those secondary cities where nomads might actually prefer to live.
So sort of a build it and they will come, but also pressure the builders because they are coming approach.
Kind of. It raises that key question. Is relying on soft power and low cost enough to bridge the infrastructure gap, at least in the short term?
A lot hinges on DICT delivering reliable 5G and fiber more widely then, not just in Metro Manila.
Exactly. That rollout is critical for this strategy to truly succeed against the competition. Okay, so we've seen the plan. A dedicated visa structure, a strategic shift away from just volume towards diversification, and this mix of clear advantages like English, but also some real challenges like infrastructure. So let's bring it back. What does all this mean for you? You know, the person listening, the traveler, the remote worker, maybe the expat considering the Philippines.
Well, the immediate takeaway, I think, is a more welcoming environment. This isn't just happening by chance. It's official government policy designed to make things easier for you.
Some active effort.
Right. Funded, government-backed, that's streamlining they're promising. If it works, you might realistically see visa application times of, say, 45 days.
Which would be a huge improvement over the months it can take for some other visa types in the region.
Exactly. And the fees, they'll likely aim to keep them competitive too, maybe under $500 for the initial application. Similar to what successful programs in Europe like Portugal or Estonia have done.
And the overall strategy that focus on long-term value instead of just quick tourist bucks, it signals something deeper.
Stability.
Yeah, stability. And maybe a commitment to making things work for long-term residents. You might expect smoother interactions down the line with immigration, local government, and maybe infrastructure improvements getting prioritized in places nomads might actually go, like Cebu, Clark, maybe Davao.
So if you're a remote worker, the country's services are actively being adjusted for you. That suggests they want you to stay, which is a big draw compared to places where long-term visitors feel like a bit of a regulatory headache.
It basically aims to turn potential bureaucratic friction into a smoother experience, maybe even a competitive advantage, if they nail the execution.
Right. Big if, but it points towards an environment that's likely to be supported and improved over time, not just left static.
Yeah.
Hashtag tag outro.
Ultimately, this whole push for quality travelers, it really signals a maturation, I think, of the Philippine tourism industry.
Moving beyond just counting heads at the airport.
Exactly. They're deliberately moving past simple arrival numbers to prioritize economic contribution that's sustainable, high value, and ideally lasts longer.
Yeah.
It's more like creating an investment climate than just a holiday spot.
It's definitely a massive shift and something you need to consider carefully if you're planning a long-term move anywhere in Asia. The big question hangs in the air, though, doesn't it?
Which is?
Will this aggressive focus combining sustainability goals, that English advantage, and the promise of easier processes be enough? Enough for the Philippines to really capture a significant slice of the market from regional giants, places like Thailand, Indonesia. They've got a decade, maybe more, head start catering to this crowd.
Execution is everything. That's the ultimate test.
So if you are thinking about that next step, maybe becoming a digital nomad or you're an expat looking at the region, the details we've unpacked today, the potential visa structure, the target locations, the competition, it's all vital stuff for your planning.
Definitely worth keeping a close eye on how this unfolds.
And to explore your options in more detail, maybe connect directly with experts who are tracking the official rollout of these new visa programs as they happen. You can head over to moveandstay.com/request.
Good resource.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.